In solving quote-unquote word problems in arithmetic, we have often in the past written down expressions from stories. For example, this is a very simple problem. Suppose that Bill has 3 CDs and he buys 2 more CDs. How many CDs does he have? Well, in this story, we're getting more of something, so we want addition, right? He has 3 CDs plus 2 more CDs, so he has 5 CDs. Okay, that was a very, very simple problem. Our process is going to be very similar when we're writing down an algebraic expression, except that we don't know one of the numbers. So a story that calls for an algebraic expression might look something like this. Suppose Bill buys 2 more CDs. Write an expression for the number of CDs that Bill has. Now, that might be ambiguous because it might make sense to just let the number of CDs that Bill has be our variable. So typically in a word problem like this, where we're just practicing this skill, we'll tell you what the variable should be. And the way that we'll tell you that is by telling you the letter for the variable followed by a description of what the variable means. So write an expression for the number of CDs Bill has in terms of C, the number of CDs Bill has now. Before, when we were working with an arithmetic expression, we said the number he has now plus the number he bought gives us how many he has after he buys them. We will do exactly the same thing in the variable expression, except that now the number he has is a variable. And of course, we can't evaluate that until we find out what the value of C actually is. So we have to just leave our answer as the variable expression C plus 2. Okay, how do we know what operation to use? Well, there are a couple of technical terms that might appear in a story for each operation. For addition, we might see the words sum or total. For subtraction, we might see the word difference. We'll talk more about differences later, because order is a little bit weird there. For multiplication, we might see the word product. And for division, we might see the word ratio or quotient. Ratios also we're going to talk about later. But most of the time, that was a problem that called for addition. Did you see sum or total in there anywhere? No, not at all. We will want addition in stories that are about getting more of something or putting things together. We'll want subtraction in stories that are about taking away or about differences or distances. Again, more on this part later. We'll want multiplication in stories that are about adding repeatedly, and we'll also want multiplication in some situations that we'll talk about in more detail later. And we'll want division in stories that are about making groups, that are, of course, of the same size. Addition is an operation about putting things together. Subtraction is an operation that's about taking things apart or figuring out how different things are. Multiplication is an operation that's about adding repeatedly. Division is an operation that's about splitting things into equal groups. Rather than give you a giant list of keywords to search for, it's better to pay attention to what each operation represents and to think about what it is that you're actually doing in the story.